Imagine the world is screaming at you. Imagine every finger is pointed at your chest, every mouth filled with lies, every heart wishing for your downfall. They are waiting. They are starving for your reaction. They want to see you bleed, hear you cry, or watch you explode in anger. But you do nothing. You do not flinch, you do not explain, you do not argue. You stand there like a mountain wrapped in mist, present yet unreachable. In that moment of absolute silence, you haven't just won a fight, you have ascended beyond the reach of their petty wars. Today, we enter the sanctuary of the Stoic. Today, you learn the art of being untouchable. This is why your silence is the most terrifying weapon you possess. The anatomy of no reaction. We live in an age of outrage. We are taught to be strong. We must speak up. We are told that if we don't react, we are weak. Stoicism teaches us the opposite. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you react, you become a puppet. Every time you get angry at an insult, you are handing the strings of your soul to a stranger. You are letting them decide your mood. To never react is to cut those strings. Think of a deep, dark well. If someone throws a stone into it, the well doesn't scream. It absorbs the stone. The ripples fade, the water returns to its mirror-like stillness, and the stone is lost in the depths forever. Be the well. Let their insults sink into your silence until they are forgotten by time itself. The death of the need to explain. Why do we explain ourselves? Because we are afraid. We are afraid of being misunderstood. We are afraid of our reputation being tarnished. But here is the haunting truth. The people who want to misunderstand you will do so regardless of how many words you use. Explaining is a form of begging. It is saying, "Please validate my existence. Please see me as I see myself." An untouchable person does not beg. If someone calls you a liar and you know you are truthful, why speak? The truth does not need a lawyer. It simply is. When you stop explaining, you reclaim your energy. You stop leaking your power into the ears of people who don't deserve your voice. Silence is the ultimate boundary. It says, "My reality is not up for debate." Disengaging from the theater of fools. Life is full of theaters of fools, arguments on the street, digital wars on screens, family dramas that lead nowhere. Most people spend their entire lives as actors in these plays. A Stoic is the one who walks out of the theater. To never engage means recognizing that not every dog that barks deserves a stone thrown back. If you fight with a pig, you both get dirty, but the pig likes it. Your energy is sacred. It is the fuel for your purpose, your family, and your growth. Do not burn it to win an argument that won't matter in 5 years. Walking away isn't an act of cowardice. It is an act of supreme self-governance. It is the realization that your peace is worth more than their ego. The mirror of indifference. When you remain calm in the face of an attack, you become a mirror. When a person screams at a wall, eventually they have to face the echo of their own ugliness. By not reacting, you force the other person to sit with their own poison. This is the enchantment of Stoicism. It feels like magic to others. They will call you cold, they will call you arrogant, but secretly they will be in awe, because they are slaves to their emotions, and you are a master of yours. You are the untouchable center of a chaotic universe. The invisible boundary of the soul. To be untouchable is not to be a statue. It is to be a sanctuary. Most people carry their hearts on their sleeves, allowing every passing wind to bruise them. But a Stoic builds an inner fortress, a place where the opinions of the world cannot breathe. This is the citadel that Marcus Aurelius spoke of. It is built not of stone, but of a refusal to be harmed. When you decide to never react, you are not suppressing your emotions, you are acknowledging them and then denying them a seat at the table of your logic. You feel the sting of a betrayal, you feel the heat of an insult, but you look at that feeling from a distance. You say to the emotion, "You are just a shadow, you have no substance here." This detachment is the first brick in your fortress. It creates a space between the stimulus and your response. In that tiny, silent gap lies your entire freedom. The alchemy of indifference. There is a profound magic in the word adiaphora, the Stoic concept of indifference. Most things that keep you awake at night, what your boss thinks of you, what your ex says about you, how many people liked your post, are indifference. They are external. They do not belong to you. When you stop caring about things you cannot control, you perform a miracle of alchemy. You turn leaden anxiety into golden peace. An untouchable person understands that their character is the only thing they truly own. If someone attacks your character with a lie, they are attacking a shadow, not the man. Why defend a shadow? Why waste your breath explaining your light to those who live in darkness? The moment you stop seeking validation, you become a king in a world of beggars. The art of the non-response. In the modern world, silence is often misunderstood as a lack of intelligence or a lack of courage, where in reality, silence is the ultimate display of status. High-status individuals do not need to explain, they simply exist. When you are provoked and you choose to remain silent, you are demonstrating that the provocateur is beneath your notice. Think of the vastness of the universe. Does the galaxy react when a speck of dust hits a star? It does not. By choosing to never engage, you are aligning yourself with the cosmic scale. You are saying, "My purpose is so vast, my vision is so long, that your petty drama cannot even reach my orbit." This is not arrogance, it is a brutal economy of energy. You are saving your fire for the things that matter, your mission, your loved ones, and your own soul's evolution. Dismantling the ego's need for justice. A major reason we react is our thirst for justice. We want the other person to know they are wrong. We want them to feel the weight of their mistake. But a Stoic knows that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. If you react with anger to an angry person, you have become them. You have doubled the evil in the world. But if you meet their chaos with your stillness, you remain untainted. You must kill the ego's desire to win the moment. Winning is not having the last word. Winning is keeping your peace intact when everyone else is losing theirs. The untouchable man realizes that the person who insulted him is already suffering. Their anger is their prison. Why would you join them in their cell just to prove a point? Emotional minimalism, the power of less. We are overwhelmed because we react to too much. We engage with every notification, every rumor, every slight. To be untouchable, you must become an emotional minimalist. You must prune your reactions like a gardener prunes a tree. Ask yourself, does this deserve my life force? Because that is what a reaction is. It is a piece of your life force being spent. When you never explain, you keep that life force for yourself. You become a reservoir of quiet strength. People will start to notice a vibe around you, a gravity. They will realize that you cannot be baited, you cannot be manipulated, you cannot be moved. You have become a fixed point in a turning world. The silence of the wise. Wisdom is not about knowing what to say, It is about knowing what not to say. There is a haunting beauty in a person who can sit in a room full of noise and remain perfectly still. This silence is not empty, it is full of presence. When you practice being untouchable, your presence begins to speak louder than any words ever could. Your lack of reaction becomes a haunting question to those around you. It makes them reflect on their own instability. You become a teacher without opening your mouth. You show the world that it is possible to be in the storm, but not of the storm. The Stoic void and the discipline of the will. Entering the void of indifference. To be truly untouchable, you must learn to exist in a space where the words of others simply pass through you like light through a ghost. In this void, there is no self to be offended. Most people react because their ego is a large, easy target. They have a self-image that they are desperate to protect. But a Stoic practices the dissolution of the ego. If you do not view yourself as important, special, or righteous, then an insult has nothing to land on. It is like trying to stab the wind. When you never react, you are essentially telling the world there is no target here for your arrows. You become a shadow, present in the room, yet impossible to grasp. This is the ultimate Maya-be power, the power of being invisible, even while standing in plain sight. The internal monologue, editing your reality. Your life is not what happens to you. It is the story you tell yourself about what happens. When someone betrays you, the pain doesn't come from the act. It comes from the thought they shouldn't have done that. To never explain to others is the first step, but the second step is to stop explaining it to yourself. Stop the internal trial where you are the victim and they are the villain. An untouchable person views every betrayal and every insult as a natural phenomenon, like a thunderstorm or a falling rock. You don't get angry at the rain for getting you wet. You simply open your umbrella. By mastering your internal dialogue, you remove the sting from external events. You decide that nothing can hurt you unless you label it as hurtful. The weight of your words. There is a profound gravity in a man who speaks rarely. Every word you save is a drop of power you keep. When you feel the urge to engage in a petty argument, feel the physical sensation in your throat, the heat, the pressure to speak, and then watch it fade. By refusing to speak, you are practicing voluntary silence. This is a form of fasting for the soul. It starves the ego and feeds the spirit. When you finally do speak, after hours or days of silence, your words will have the weight of mountains. People will stop and listen, not because you are loud, but because they have felt the depth of your silence. This is how you transition from being a player in the world's games to being the observer. The illusion of control and the freedom of letting go. We engage because we suffer from the delusion that we can control what people think of us. We explain because we think we can change their minds. This is a form of slavery. You are shackled to the opinions of fools. True freedom is the moment you realize, what you think of me is none of my business. Once you embrace this, you are free to be untouchable. You can walk through a crowd of critics with a smile on your face, not because you are mocking them, but because you are genuinely amused by their attempt to cage a bird that has already flown away. The engage button in your brain is disconnected. You are no longer a participant in the collective madness. You are a sovereign entity. The training of the will, ascesis. Becoming untouchable is a muscle. It must be trained. You start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, never react. When someone leaves a rude comment on your post, never explain. When a colleague tries to bait you into office gossip, never engage. Every time you resist the urge to react, your fortress grows stronger. You are teaching your nervous system that you are safe, even in the face of hostility. You are rewiring your brain to choose peace over dopamine-driven conflict. This is the Stoic workout. It is cold, it is lonely, and it is incredibly powerful. Over time, you will find that things that used to make your blood boil now don't even register on your radar. You have moved to a higher frequency. The beauty of the unseen battle. The world loves a spectacle. It loves loud heroes and dramatic villains. But the most beautiful battle is the one nobody sees. The battle where you stay calm when you have every right to be furious. This is the hidden enchantment of your journey. You are fighting a war against your own lower instincts. Every time you remain silent, you win a victory that the world cannot see, but you can feel it in your bones. You feel a sense of dignity that no amount of praise could ever give you. You are becoming a person of substance, a person who is not moved by the changing tides, a person who is, quite literally, out of this world. The sovereign life and the legacy of silence. The transcendence of the untouchable. To reach this final stage, you must realize that being untouchable is not a wall you build to hide behind. It is a light you become that dissolves the darkness. When you follow the path of never react, never explain, never engage, you eventually stop doing it as a tactic. It becomes your nature. You no longer feel the urge to fight back, because there is no fight left within you. You have achieved ataraxia, the state of robust tranquility. People may throw stones at the moon, but the moon does not flinch. It simply continues to shine, indifferent to the gravity of the earth. When you reach this level, your silence isn't a response anymore. It is your atmosphere. You walk through the world, but you are not of it. You have reclaimed your soul from the marketplace of public opinion. The power of absolute presence. We often think that if we don't explain ourselves, we will be forgotten, but the opposite is true. The man who explains everything is predictable and shallow. The man who remains silent is an enigma. By refusing to engage in the trivial, you become a magnet for the essential. Because you don't leak energy through your mouth, your eyes begin to carry a weight that words never could. This is the presence of the sovereign. When you enter a room, you don't need to announce your arrival. Your stillness speaks for you. Your lack of reaction tells everyone, here is someone who cannot be bought, cannot be bullied, and cannot be broken. This is the ultimate form of social power, the power of being completely self-contained. The death of the victim. To be untouchable, you must perform a final ritual, the execution of the victim inside you. A victim reacts. A victim explains. A victim engages because they feel wronged. The Stoic knows that no one can wrong you unless you believe you have been harmed. If someone steals your money, they have taken paper, not your character. If someone spreads a rumor, they have wasted their breath, not your truth. When you stop seeing yourself as a target, you stop feeling like a victim. You realize that every attack is actually an opportunity to practice your strength. Your enemies become your trainers. Your betrayers become your teachers. You thank the storm for showing you that your house is built on stone. The legacy of the silent mountain. What is the legacy of a man who never reacted? It is a legacy of peace. In a world of screaming voices, your life becomes a quiet melody that others want to follow. People will remember not what you said, because you said very little, but how they felt in your presence. They felt safe. They felt small in the face of your giant calm. They saw that it is possible to live without being a slave to the like button, the comment section, or the insult of a stranger. You become a living blueprint for freedom. You show them that the only prison that exists is the one we build with our own reactions. By being untouchable, you give others permission to be free as well. The final transformation, the void as a home. As we conclude this journey, look inward one last time. See that inner fortress you built in Part 2. See the void you entered in Part 3. Now, realize that this void is not a place of emptiness, but a place of infinite potential. When you never react, you are saving that energy for your destiny. When you never explain, you are keeping your truth for those who truly deserve it. When you never engage, you are choosing to walk with the gods instead of wrestling with the shadows. You are now a sovereign. You are the master of your internal kingdom. The world can scream, the stars can fall, and the oceans can rise, but you remain, still, silent, unbroken.